Well, coming up right away is the Hollywood release. We're reviewing Two Night Stand. Should you be watching it tomorrow night? Let's find out.
Tell her, doctor.
Okay.
A
Cedric.
no-strings-attached online hookup turns into a morning after disaster for 20-something New Yorkers Megan and Alec. When a paralyzing blizzard hits the city, trapping them in Alec's cramped Brooklyn apartment, they are forced to get to know each other far beyond the confines of a typical one-night stand. Marking the directorial debut of Max Nichols, son of Mike Nichols, Two Night Stand is a sexy romantic comedy about finding love in the digital age.
You know, Fahad, let me put the cards straight onto the table. I'm a huge sucker for conversational films, and this is a conversation film. There are really two people who are talking to each other throughout. Some of my favorite films have been like these. I know a lot of people believe these movies should really become theater or plays, and we should be watching them on stage, like Istvan Zabo's Taking Sides, which was a political drama that starred Harvey Keitel. One of my favorite films is Tape, Richard Linklater's, that had Ethan Hawke in it. Another film, which I think is most underrated of all of them, is Two Girls and a Guy, that had Robert Downey Jr. in it. Now, this is more along the lines of Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, and Before Midnight. Of course, it doesn't quite, reach there in terms of its writing, but I was quite hooked to the idea of listening to these people, and that's why I was already warmed into the theater. I was pretty easily warmed up to what the movie would be like. But I think one of the important things in a film like this is who are these two people we're listening to. While I was very happy with the fact that the hero is not exactly your best looking guy, he's not even the most charming person you're likely to come across, a banker. And of course, he gives his reason why he's a banker. The girl also, is not exactly your typical, Hollywood sweetheart, but it makes it real. But I'm not too sure if it makes the best film possible of the genre.
I completely agree with you. In fact, this is, it's most of the film, 90% of the film is shot in a very cramped Brooklyn apartment. So automatically there is a sense of claustrophobia, and you're wondering why, this director, who happens to be the son of the celebrated Mike Nichols, has elected to make his debut in this tiny little film shot in such cramped quarters. And I wonder if there's some sort of cinematic metaphor at play, which I couldn't figure out, and I really wonder if there is any. Also, there's this blizzard, and therefore you have these two people thrown together. Lot of sex talk, lot of banter about what women and men want. So it's quite explicit, which is quite interesting. And given that our censors have been, magnanimous
Kind enough for adults population in India.
That in, and of course, certain raunchy bits have been obviously chopped.
Okay.
But I guess we're so grateful these days for what is available in the cinema halls and the arbitrary thing. But yes, I thought, unfortunately, the film didn't quite, even though the actors were so good, I don't think they quite got a script that was worthy of them. And therefore, the film didn't work for me, even though the premise is quite interesting.
Well, getting on to the oh my god moments or the OMG moments, for a film that's largely shot indoors, obviously those moments are not going to be the bombastic ones. It will be about the conversations between two people. While I don't read Cosmopolitan, and I'm saying that, and I really mean it, it's not under my pillow right now, I like the fact that some of this stuff must be appearing in magazines like these, and I like the fact that I could at least watch it in a film, which is the guy and the girl, while they know that they're not interested in each other, they're actually lab rats stuck after a one-night stand. They make conversation about what is it that they could learn from each other in terms of better sex life, as it were. And the guy, of course, gives you all those pointers, one of them being that the woman should strip with ease, as it were, and that's something that a lot of people would, I think a lot of guys would agree with. On the other hand, what really is a pet peeve for the guy, again, is the fact that the girl wants the light off most of the times during lovemaking, which is something also I never quite understood. There's also the larger picture of women, if there is equality we're seeking, then hey, they should be a little more forthcoming. They should make the first move. And these were my oh my god moments, purely because I don't read those magazines.
Well, there's Mayank's sex life in a nutshell for you.
Or the lack of one.
But what I found particularly interesting in this film is the fact that PVR would want to release it in India. It's a tiny little independent film with young actors who are just sort of breaking out. The director is making his debut. The fact that this kind of film, because there is now promiscuity. There are websites, social networking, sites like Tinder, where urban youth in India are hooking up and just being able to meet for a one night stand, possibly, maybe leading to something more meaningful, I hope. But even if that were the case, if it was just for sexual gratification, it's interesting that we are a society in flux, and therefore this kind of film, which is valid for a US, urban New York audience, is also has resonances for a country like ours. And of course, it may be a tiny demographic, but certainly enough to go and watch in a cinema hall.
Well, while I liked the film, the big bummer for me was the fact that it goes the entire rom-com route eventually. I was hoping that here's a movie that would look at online dating as a social phenomenon a little more closely. It's a movie that would get into one-night stand as something that a lot of young people go through, and therefore create conversations around that. But really, at the end of the day, if everything has to end the way this movie ends, then what was the point? But hey, it's still a great conversation to be had while you watch the film, while you're watching the film. I think you should go to the theater just for that.
So let me get this right, Mayank. What you're saying is you're not happy with a happy ending? Is that what you're saying? Well, listen, regardless of however this film culminates, the point is, it's fun, it's pointless, it's happily forgettable. But if you're going out on a date, maybe you're looking to seduce somebody, go ahead, watch it. You can do worse.
Well, that's a wrap on Friday Double Bill, India's first full-length film review show. Catch you next week. Catch you at the cinemas. Tell us what you think of the show. See you soon.